Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Conquering freeCodeCamp. In this episode we're going to look over jQuery, which is a JavaScript library, very popular back then when I started learning JavaScript. Well, I actually started learning jQuery before I knew JavaScript that well, so that was mainly because jQuery had all of these nice additions on top of JavaScript, but nowadays you kinda have everything in JavaScript, so you don't need jQuery that much. But because jQuery is in this curriculum and we want to finish it all, I'm going to go over the JavaScript jQuery section. Alright. jQuery is one of the many libraries for JavaScript. It is designed to simplify scripting done on the client side. jQuery's most recognizable characteristic is its $sign syntax. With it, you can easily manipulate elements, create animations, and handle input events. Alrighty. In the last section, Bootstrap, we built this jQuery playground, but we haven't used it, so I guess we're going to use it now. Let's see. Now we're ready to learn jQuery, the most popular JavaScript tool of all time. Is it the most? I think React overtook it, but who knows? Before we can start using jQuery, we need to add some things in our HTML. First, add a script element. Alright, so we need a script element where all of our JavaScript/jQuery will go. Your browser will run any JavaScript inside the script element, including jQuery. Inside your script element, add this code. So we have document.ready function. Oh boy, I used this so much back in the day. I feel like an old person now. Okay, so we use document.ready and we gave it a function. We'll learn more about functions later. The important thing to know is that the code put inside the function will run as soon as the browser has loaded your page. Yeah, so jQuery had this nice little function which waited for the page to load and then run the JavaScript. I think the same could be done by putting the JavaScript section down on the page, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, this is important because without your document-ready function, your code may run before your HTML is rendered, which would cause bugs. Alright, but if you put the script down here, it probably won't run. Next. Target HTML elements with selectors using jQuery. All jQuery functions start with a $sign, usually referring to a $sign operator, or as bling. jQuery often selects an HTML element with a selector that does something to that element. For example, let's make all of our button elements bounce. Just add this code inside your document-ready function. So we have the selector, and we need to select all the buttons, add class on them, animated bounce. Alright, look at that, they bounce. Now, how this works, let's see. Note that we included both jQuery library and the animate CSS library in the background. Yeah, so basically what this code does, they don't do a very good job at explaining, so I will try to explain. We're going to select with this all the buttons on the page. Next, we're going to add the following classes. Animated and bounce. This is specific to the animate.css library, which gets the animated class. If you followed along with the Bootstrap section before, you saw that for the icons we needed the class FAB or FAS. The same thing happens here. We needed the animated class to tell the animate CSS that we want to add some animation on this element. And then the bounce is the effect we want. I think they have a ton of other animations. Let's see, animate CSS. Okay, and this website, animate.css, you can see that here you can select from a wide range of animations. Fade in, for example. Okay, or jello. Alright, you can click the animation and it will run. It will do so by adding the classes to whatever elements you want. Okay, that's pretty much it. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, sorry. Target elements by class using jQuery. Okay. So we added the buttons. We targeted the buttons with the button inside. Now we can have the same, but using a class. If we want to target all the well classes, we just add this selector and inside that will, whatever you want to call it. Now that, just like the CSS declarations, you type a dot before the class name. Then use jQuery's add class function to add the classes animated and shake. For example, you could make all the elements with the class textPrimary shake by adding the following to your document ready function. TextPrimary add class animated shake. Yeah, so it targets all the elements with the class of textPrimary and adds the class of animated shake. Okay, so what do we need to do? First, let's target the div with the class of well. Okay, and add animated shake. Alright, you can see it shake. Elements by using ID. Alright, so if we target it with the ID, we can also target with the class, we can also target with an ID using the hash tag, hash, what do you call it? Hash symbol, hash, whatever. Okay. Let's see. Target the button element with an ID of target 3. So target 3. So only the element, you can see now that only that bounced. And fade out. Fade out. Alright, you can see that it disappeared because we added the animated fade out class to the target 3 button. I'd say it's pretty obvious, but let me know if you have questions. These animations were cool at first, but now they're getting kind of distracting. Delete all 3 of these jQuery functions from your document ready function, but leave your document ready by itself intact. Okay. Target the same elements with multiple jQuery selectors. So we can target by type, saying button. For example, we can target by class .btn and by ID hash target and what ID we want. Although it is possible to add multiple classes in a single add class call, let's add them to the same element in 3 separate ways. Using .add class, add only one class at a time to the same element 3 different ways. Add the animated class to all elements with the type button. Okay, so we want to select button, add class of animated. Next, add shake to all buttons with the class of button. So if we have a class of btn, we want to add a class of shake, like that. And we want button primary class of, add the button primary class to the button with ID target. Okay, so the button with ID target 1, we want to add a class of btn primary. Okay, so basically this will add the bootstrap class to it, button primary. You can see it turn blue. You can add any classes you want here. You can target any elements you want. Just keep in mind what type of elements you can target. If you want the tag, you add the tag here. If you want the class, you add the dot, and if you have the ID, you add the hashtag, hash symbol. You should only be targeting one element and adding only one class at a time. Altogether, your 3 individual selectors will end up adding the 3 classes: shake, animated, BTN primary to target 1. Yeah, you can see because we targeted the button, the BTN class, and also the target one, this has all of the 3 classes to it. Alright. Remove classes from an element using jQuery. Okay, so we have add class, obviously we have remove class. Which, guess what? It will remove the classes. In JavaScript, we have the same. We can target the buttons, for example, or the classes, and just do class list add, class list remove. This is why jQuery is not that popular nowadays, because you can do it with vanilla JavaScript. Let's remove the button default class from all of our button elements. Okay, so we want to target the button, remove class, and we want to remove the BTN default. Alright, so now you can see that they look different because we removed the BTN default class. Change the CSS of an element using jQuery. Alright, now we're starting to get a little fancy. We have this .css function which requires what property you want to change and what value you want to change it to, or set it, depending if it's set or not before. This is slightly different from a normal CSS declaration because the CSS property and its value are in quotes and separated by a comma instead of a column. Okay, delete your jQuery selectors, leaving an empty document ready. Right? Then select the target and change its color to red. So we want target 1, which is an ID, CSS, color to be red. Alright, look at that. So now we have the color red on this target 1. We can do all sorts of things. Target 2, we want the font size to be 24 pixels. Now, keep in mind that if we're adding these properties here, I don't think font size will work. Oh, look at that, it works. Interesting, they might have changed it, or I don't remember well. I know that in JavaScript it doesn't know font dash size, so you had to do camel case. Oh well, I guess they changed it in jQuery. Interesting. Then don't mind, let's see, we'll probably learn about that. You can also change the non-CSS properties of HTML elements. You can disable a button with the prop. So you can change the property of an HTML tag using that prop. Which property you want to change, in this case disabled, and what you want to change it to. So let's target the buttons. Even though we say button here, basically it will take all the buttons. And we want the property disabled to be set to true. Now you can see that our buttons are not clickable anymore, and we have this, the cursor is changed. It's not working, it's disabled. No other button should have, oh, just target 1. Okay. So only target 1. And maybe let's remove the class from it, the color. Yeah, you can see these are now clickable, but the target 1 is not. Hello Piyush, big fan. Thank you. Hopefully you like what we're doing here. Change text inside an element using JavaScript. Alright, we have also the HTML function, which lets you add HTML tags and text within an element. Basically this, it will change the inner HTML property of the element. If you're working with vanilla JavaScript, this is what. Okay, here's how you write and emphasize the text. You can put inside this HTML, inside the string, what tags you want, and it will add it. Okay, there's also a .text function, but that only changes the text, not the entire HTML markup. So if you want, for example, to change the h4's text here from left wheel to whatever, you should use .text. But if you want to add something else, maybe you want to have a span element inside or a list for some reason, you will use the .html function. Okay, change the button with ID, target 4, copy this, target 4, we want to change by emphasizing its text. Okay, so we want to emphasize the text in target 4, we need to wrap what's inside target 4 in an I tag or EM tag. So for that, we're going to use target.html and we put inside the quotes I tag like that. And we're going to say target 4. Okay, and you can see now that we wrapped the text inside an I tag. Someone says jQuery is dead and very bad idea, don't use this. Well, I didn't want to sound like that, but yeah, kind of. I don't want to, I don't know. For those people who use jQuery, it might be used legacy code, so you might need to know it. But yeah, I kind of agree. You don't need to learn jQuery that much anymore. You can do pretty much everything we did here in vanilla JavaScript. And you don't have to add an entire library. So yeah, Radim is right in a sense. I wouldn't be that drastic. There might be people who use it and find it useful, but yeah, that's also my opinion. You should learn vanilla JavaScript pretty well, and then you wouldn't need jQuery. But again, we're doing it because it's in this curriculum and we want to get everything done. All right. Okay, we can remove an element from the DOM using .remove. This is the same as in vanilla Java. So let's target the element with the target 4 and click .remove. And you can see now that not only it disappeared, like visually, it also disappeared entirely. So the wheel is smaller now. So it gets rid of it entirely from the DOM, which is nice. You might want sometimes just to hide an element, or sometimes you want to remove it like forever. And then you would use the remove. Use append to move elements with jQuery. Alright. This append to method allows you to select an HTML element and append it to another one. If you want to move, for example, target 4 from our right wheel to the left wheel, you will use target 4 append to left wheel. So what element you want to move and where you want to move it, basically. That's how this looks. So let's see. Move your target to append to from your left to your right. So we want to move it to the right wheel. Okay, and you can see that target 2 appended, so meaning that it went at the bottom of the right wheel, so as the last element. I think there is prepend, yeah, which moves it on top of it, but I guess we're going to learn about it next. No. Okay, so not. Yeah, good. It's good to know they exist. You also have that in vanilla. Append before, append after, something like that. Clone an element using jQuery. In addition to moving elements, you can copy them from one place to another using the clone. Alright. Okay, so we need to call the clone function and then append to. Basically what the clone function will do is it will create a similar element and it will return it. And then using append to that element will append it to the right wheel. Alright, let's copy this over. And let's see, change the target 5 to the left wheel. Left. So now you can see, let me remove this first. We have target 5 here, and if we clone it and then append it to the left one, we have target 5 here also, and also here. Pretty simple, I'd say. Target the parent of an element using jQuery. Alright, this is a good one actually. Sometimes you have the ID of an element, but you want to, or ID over class or something, but you want to do something with its parent. So then you have this function .parent which does that. Goes up one level in the DOM tree and does whatever you want on that element. Okay, let's copy this because we're going to need it and do target 1, parent background color red. Alright, so you can see we have target 1 and its parent is this left wheel. So we go up and change the background color to a red color. I would do purple. Looks better. But okay, pink. But red be it. Target the children of an element. Okay, so the opposite of parent obviously is children if you want to go one level deep. Now let's see, it's interesting to see if it takes all of the children's or only one. Let's see. Left wheel, right wheel we need, children, color, CSS, color orange. Alright, so this is nice. It will actually go over all of the children's and change their color to orange. Good. I thought that only one children. I guess you can say here 0. And no, that doesn't work. Alright. Never mind. Next. Target a specific child. Okay, yeah. Good. So basically, we can do end child and pass in the number. This is as a CSS selector. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, basically what you can pass inside the selector is anything that looks like a CSS selector. So anything you would use in CSS you can pass here. I'm not sure if it works for before and after selectors, but it works for end child in this case. Make the second child of each of your wheel elements bounce. You must select the element's children with the target class. Alright, so now this is a nice challenge. Finally, we need to create something, not just copy and paste. So we need to select the wheel. Alright, and inside it the end child 2. So the second child inside the wheel. I would like to remove all these. Don't get distracted. Alright, so the second child of all the wheels, and we want to add the class of make the second child bounce. So animated and bounce. So that's not good. Make the second child in each of the wheels. So this will do wheel and child if this wheel is end child too. Alright, so we want to go one level deep and we want to target the butt. Okay, so just the space. Yeah, This will target the wheel, which is end child 2, but adding the space, it will target anything that is inside the wheel and it's end child 2. You should only use jQuery to add these classes to the element. Okay, I guess that's because I removed this. The second element in the target element should bounce, but it does. Only 2 elements should bounce. Maybe button like that. Only 2 bounce. You should only use jQuery to add these classes to the element. But I'm only using jQuery, I'm not using anything else. What's wrong with you? I guess we don't need this selector then. Button and child 2. Now that's weird. Let's use target and child 2. That's pretty much the same because they're buttons. Oh wow. So these buttons have a class of target and we needed to use that. The second should bounce. No, this is annoying. Second element should bounce. It worked a second ago. What's wrong now? Really? Hey Jessica. So this is annoying. What? Okay, finally. Let's move on before it doesn't work anymore. Target even elements using jQuery. Okay, so you have odd and even selectors. This is also something CSS related, not necessarily jQuery related. So yeah, try selecting all the even targets and giving them the class of animated shake. So target, we want the even ones and add animated shake. Take that. All right. Use jQuery to modify the entire page. Okay, so we can add obviously on the body something because the body is also a tag. So let's do that. On the body, we want to add animated hinge. Oh wow, that's nice. Let's add it again. So we have these and then look at that, whoops, and it falls off. Pretty nice animation. Kudos to all of those from Animate CSS who built this library. Alright, so that was it for jQuery. Pretty easy. I mean, they didn't went to all of what jQuery could do. That's definitely, there's a lot more. You can add events, you can loop over all the things, and yeah, as I said, I used jQuery a lot a couple of years ago, but then I learned JavaScript and I didn't really need, I mean, I learned JavaScript very well, how to use the DOM, how to manipulate it and do pretty much everything we did here with vanilla JavaScript, and you don't need to import the jQuery library anymore. Yeah, you just need to learn a syntax which is just a little bit different, not a lot different, and it will work fine. So I think jQuery library has a couple of kilobytes. Let's see, jQuery size, which will add a bit of a, yeah, 241 kilobytes. Ooch. So, oh, minified. We need the minified version. Okay, 82 kilobytes. That's still a lot in my opinion, considering that you can do pretty much everything jQuery does in JavaScript. So This is just my opinion, and probably 1,000 more developers, but you don't need jQuery for most of the things. I can't think of something you would need jQuery for. Maybe just if someone created a jQuery plugin or something and you need that fast, then you would add the jQuery just to use that plugin. Although just try to find a vanilla JavaScript plugin which does that for you. So, all right, let me know if you have any questions. If not, I'll see you in the next section, which will be Sass, I think. Yeah, this will also be a quick one. So see you in about 30 minutes probably, for those of you who are watching live. For those of you who are watching the recording, in the description you can find a link to the playlist where you can find all of the projects and all of the challenges we did so far on our on our quest to conquer freeCodeCamp's curriculum. Alright. Man, you're awesome. Just don't give up. Your videos will also help people whenever they get stuck. Thank you very much, Janice. Alright. Have fun, and I'll see you in the next section. Bye.